Hello, everybody. I'm Kipp Snow. I'm the director of the Transportation Distribution and Logistics Institute at the Community College of Baltimore County.
Hey, everybody. I'm Headphone Mike, and that's new background Kipp. Hey, everybody. Mike Singer, Community Manager, Baltimore and Chesapeake Bay Shipwatchers, and welcome to the Shipwatchers podcast.
There you go.
How the heck are you this morning?
I guess I'm all right. I fought putting up this background for about an hour and a half.
Oh my God!
It's not it's really cool, but it's not user friendly. I guess that's what I get for buying it on discount. It's cool. Yeah. It's got all the logos on it. You know,
that's awesome, man.
All right, you got.
I'm a little jealous, I gotta say.
Well, don't be too jealous because I bought a second one and I'll get it over to you. Get an early Christmas present. How about that?
Nice.
So we can both have our Shipwatchers backgrounds. Yeah. Instead of
if we could get the little globes to line up there.
Yeah, I'll have to play with the camera action. At least I won't be given a hard time. Make it somebody asking if I was recording out of the bathroom before. You know?
Right. Well, we won't talk about that. All right. So, what is your prop of the day? I've got my shirt, and I've got my. What do you got?
It's Saturday morning, so it's got to be a cup of coffee, and I've got my South Carolina state flag there. How about that?
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so figure we try headphones today. See how that works.
See if that works, and see if we can get some better audio out of this.
Yeah, love the background, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. It's a little 8x8 canvas. It's got a little frame on it. You'll be able to use it when you go out to National Maritime Day and set up our booth, and
yeah,
we'll be able to use that quite a bit. So
yeah, sounds good. Good.
All right, you want to get into some shipping updates from this week?
Yeah, let's do it. Real quickly, if you're listening on YouTube, give us a like, subscribe, and hit the bell to be alerted to new podcasts as they come available. So yeah, as we get into our normal shipping updates, so now we're up to 4 weeks or a month since the strike ended.
Has it been that long?
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
Yes. It must be because it says it on this sheet that's on my other screen. So
Your sheet. What have you got in your coffee this morning?
Yeah.
Okay. Keep going.
Not enough, too much, I don't know. So the last 3 weeks were daily average, right? So we look at the numbers for each day every week. And then we typically don't talk about that, but then we take an average, we total up the average daily, what the daily truck transactions from every day, total it up, divide by 5, come up with an average for that week. So the first week back from the strike was 3,240, so 3,240. The next week, 3,084. The next week was 3,335. And so there was a nice trend up, and then just a little dip this week. It did look a little lighter over there at Seagirt, 3,045. I wanted to call an audible here and just talk about what's kind of behind. Right, so here's our website, BaltimoreShipWatchers.com. If you go to shipping links, I'm clicking on the wrong screen. If you go to shipping links, this container ship schedule, right? So what we're always talking about, and then, looks pretty popular for the next month. This is what we just got done, October. And it wasn't too busy this week. You can see there was, just one ship here, just one ship here. This is the container ship barge here on Tuesday. this is interesting little tidbit for anybody who's really a ship geek. They always run one container barge. It just runs between Baltimore, Philly, and Norfolk. That's all it does, 24 hours a day, one barge, just constantly. This week and next week, they're running two barges
Really interesting.
with a different tugboat, obviously, because you need
Mhm.
one for each. Because I saw a different tugboat, and I'm like, what is happening? My life is upside down. It's supposed to be the McAllister sisters towing the container barge, and it was a different one. And but anyway, when we go to next month or this month, when we look down here, it's pretty busy. But then here's this crazy day on the
Wow.
22nd. And I used to have a source at Seagirt that I could, occasionally send a text or an email to and say, "Hey, what's going?" I didn't want to bug the heck out of the guy.
Hmm.
But he has since moved on up, so I've lost my source. But so one, two, three, four, five. I mean, there's okay.
It's a
Barcelona's from the day before. Triumph's from the day before. So I guess they can get
move out early and
yeah,
swap spots.
right. Yeah, so maybe that's what that was. But if you go up here, because when we click through to this link to the container ship schedule, this is Ports America Chesapeake. This is their website.
Correct.
You're just using our website to get there, so that you don't have to have the bookmark and a
Correct.
bunch of different bookmarks. You just got all this cool stuff that you can get to from our website. So if you come up here to Baltimore, and then look at that. You're a big boy now. So you two can go look at, this container traffic and see it yourself. You don't have to rely on us, if you're because there's people following the dolly across the ocean. I
Sure.
mean, there's people are fascinated by this stuff. So, and then you just hover over each day and it gives you the total. I think maybe you can click on each one. Okay, no, that doesn't work. Uh,
We should also kind of keep in mind that this is just the container operations coming out of Seagirt. This is not a
yes,
all inclusive Port of Baltimore sense of how we are doing economically.
right.
How I mean, it's a great measure. It's a great measure against the container operations out of that one terminal. So I just want to make sure
Hmm.
everybody is aware that that's what this is.
Right. And if you look up here on the tabs, you can see Seagirt, Dundalk. There's there's packaging. There's
Yep.
Atlantic and Chesapeake terminals, which are ro terminals that are on the Fairfield side. Okay, there's Fairfield. All these now, but all these different terminals don't have all this cool data that
Correct.
Seagirt does. It's what's available on those tabs is a little bit more limited as far as
Sure.
um, transactional
I'd be
information.
curious. I'd be curious on a couple of things related to metrics, and this is probably something that we can kind of collect and put together. But
Hmm.
what other metrics are available from a bulk
Mm.
and a break bulk perspective?
And
Um,
remember, we did that, and I don't know if we wanted to mark it again, and I could dig it up, but there are those. There's that incredible spreadsheet from the port that's online, and I mean, you can even drag the columns out so you can read the total name of all the columns. And it's broken down into import TEUs, export TEUs. There's 25, 30 columns wide of data. The kicker
yeah,
is it's all at least 2 months old,
sure.
right? So they can't compile it and put it up. It takes them a couple of months to do that.
Well,
So,
it's because
um,
they're collecting that information through various
oh
sources. I
my
mean,
gosh, yeah,
it's legitimate sources, but when I
yeah,
was
just
doing
takes a while to compile all that stuff.
right. When I was doing some import export compliance when I was working in industry before I
Hmm.
started doing educational stuff, we looked at some of that, and Census Bureau collects some of that.
Hmm.
So the state collects it for various reasons. So there's a lot of those metrics that are publicly available out there.
Here we go. Maryland Port
Yeah, there you go.
Administration General Cargo. Now you'll see the latest month here is September. So um, but let's see if we can. container tons. Yeah, this is a little hard to navigate. Auto, tons, row, excluding autos, which is interesting because we always just kind of, but you can see how many different columns there are here. I mean, there is just a ton of data
Lots and lots and lots of data.
in this. Maybe I should add that to the website under links or something.
Sure.
Yeah. So just to stay on port specific stuff about what's happening, I wanted to talk about these Saga Welco gantry crane ships.
Yeah.
They're pretty unique. So we had one come to town this week, and a lot of times, most of them go to Ruckert, and every once in a while they'll go to Trade Point Atlantic. I think they mostly haul, wood products. Yeah. So here, let's share that and take a look at some of these. These things are cool looking. Let me see if I can make this just a little bit larger. Yeah, let's really look at that. So
Fascinating looking thing.
right, and I think from this angle, it might kind of be hard. Like what in the world am I looking at? Right. So here's the first ship at Ruckert. Here's the second ship at Ruckert, and then over here is the coal ship at Console, which is kind of interesting. But these are a different type of cranes. These are gantry cranes. And if you think about how a gantry crane works, like if you've seen them in a building, in a big warehouse or something, there's this giant I-beam, right? That's basically going rails that rolls along the length of the building, right? Well, here, the building is like the width of the ship. So the gantry crane is along the long axis of the ship, the actual gantry crane itself, and then it rolls side to side. And here, let's take a look at some more pictures. So that's kind of cool. So here you can actually see the gantry crane itself here in the middle. Zooming is a little crazy. And then you can see here are all these slings that they use to pick up like a whole bunch of different boxes or packages. They'll break bulk and get them over the side. So this thing rolls all the way, and you can see the mechanical stop out here.
And that hangs over the side of the ship.
It does. And what's really cool is it doesn't always hang over the side of the ship. These arms, so this part from this big structure here on out, fold up. Right? So it's the crane itself is just kind of a square. It doesn't look like this crazy thing that's hanging over the side of the ship. And so here's a cool picture of
you can
one
see
that's deployed,
yeah,
if you will, and one that isn't. They just haven't unfolded these. So let's see if we can zoom in here and get a better. So you can kind of see here that this section, right, is like the same as this thing here that's on the outside. Now, some of them fold internally, which is even more interesting when you think about that it has to fold in and get away from that rail that the crane is rolling on. Like, how does that work? Anyway, so that's a really cool picture. So shout out to James Gray. He was out on the water and got us some really cool pictures. So, we've only been doing this stuff for 7 years, and, we're still learning everything that happens at the port. And obviously I'm fascinated by it, and that's why we're here at this podcast. That's why we have that group with 16,000 people on it, because other people find this stuff interesting too. Sure. So James somebody finally took pictures of this thing as it's deploying. So
Oh,
check this out. So there
oh,
it's
cool.
starting to unfold.
Hmm.
Almost done. So this is the bow of the ship up here, you can see.
Right.
Let's see. And then done.
It looked like, and I don't know what the timestamp was with the pictures, but it looked like a matter of minutes. It's a short term. I mean, it's a short process.
You know, I don't know how long it takes, but I don't think it's an hour.
No, I don't think it's that long at all.
I don't think so, and I don't know what it takes to. I'm gonna have to get on one of these and like watch them do it. And okay, and then where's the mechanical safety lock
Mm-hmm.
that locks this thing into place? You know, and how do you do that? Is there just like a giant pin you drop into something so that it can't, you know? And then you want it to be, you know, you want it to be locked into such a point that it can't be too wide. You don't want the gantry crane rolling out on the end and just kind of falling
Falling
through
off.
because it's a little, it's on a little bit of an angle. So I'd be really interested to know how that actually works.
Sure.
And this is Dan Marine Towing. They are from. They have an office up in Chesapeake City, right on the C&D
Mm-hmm.
Canal, and they do all kinds of stuff here in town. I think they, so there they are, painted pink for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So that's very cool. And all their tugs are named Coast. So this is the Diamond Coast.
Okay.
They all kind of have their ideas about naming, and
Sure.
you can kind of just know what company it is just by looking at the name once you're used to following tug traffic. So here's another ship. Now this isn't the same ship, but these ships are all very similar. And as far as I know, this is the only company that comes to Baltimore. This ship company, Saga Welco, that has these gantry crane ships. We don't have any other gantry crane ships like this that visit the port.
Not that I've seen.
But here you can see um, these. This is the cranes that are stowed. Let's take a better look. And I think these fold internally because you don't
Ah,
see them on the outside. But so here's how they're stowed. They cross the ocean with them pushed all the way up against the pilot house here. And then they can go the length of the ship and unfold, reach down, grab the cargo, and go over either side. And they're covered. I don't think the side extensions are covered, but they're covered. You can kind of see here in the photo.
right.
There's a roof here. So while the cargo hatch is open, it's covered. So that's kind of a cool feature.
That is.
Yeah. So let's got some more. Now here you can kind of see this is interesting, just the design of the ship. And so now we're back to
Mm,
a crane that folds outward, not inward. You can kind of see the arms here. But look at this kind of crazy.
the flaring on it.
When's the last time you saw a ship with like a square bow like this? This is the first time I saw that. I'm like, I had no idea what these ships were. I hadn't seen them before, and I see this kind of giant thing sticking out of the corner of the bow, and what the heck is going on there? I had no clue what was going on.
They almost have to. I mean, in this shot that you have right here, where you can see
Mm-hmm.
the flare from the extended
Mm-hmm.
out,
Yeah,
but you have to allow for that.
to
You know,
get up into that over that first hold.
correct.
Yeah, this is a really cool shot of how unique the hull is on this ship, so that they can utilize these cranes.
So you might ask why would a ship have this kind of mechanism on it? Terminals in today's environment typically have crane structures and that infrastructure there. it's quite possible that there is a port facility that does not have crane operations, where it's just
Right.
a just a a dock or a terminal structure that's there. This allows that ship to come in to that facility and discharge the freight without having to worry
Rely
about
on
the
and
local
limit.
infrastructure.
You're limited by what ports you can go to
Mm-hmm.
because you're not a geared ship,
Mm-hmm.
right? So we know Ruckert has that one really tall crane, and that's great. But I think I think they can move it, but I don't think they do move it. Is that correct?
Which
The Lieb, how do you pronounce it? Liebherr.
yeah, that is a very specialized crane. It
Mm-hmm.
is convertible. It is does have wheels on it, so they can move that crane around.
Mm-hmm.
So it does provide a very specialized operation.
Mm-hmm.
However, in their situation, they can also lean on the steamship's construction, their crane functions, which allows Ruckert to go use that crane for another ship that and you can they've got what two ships in right now. This
Yeah.
allows for more flexibility.
And then one up on, what is it, Pier 1, I think it's called, where the big red crane is. They
Yeah,
got a.
that one's primarily for their salt discharge and stuff like that.
Oh, okay. I don't think I knew that.
Yeah, the Mike Wickline made some videos back. It was about 10 years ago. The Port of Opportunity
Mm-hmm.
video series, and
Mm-hmm.
one of the videos they did was the salt operations and showed the crane operator up in the crane, getting the salt out of the ship and then putting it into the hopper, and then their dump trucks coming through. It's a pretty neat, pretty
Mm-hmm.
neat little video. But yeah,
Yeah. We should run a little segment of that sometime. Might be cool.
yeah, yeah.
Um, and then to stay with specifics of the port this week, so we got some more some more RTGs in.
Yep.
And so, what the heck are RTGs? They're rubber tire gantry cranes. So it's has the same name as what we just looked at, but not really.
It's kind of the same kind of function, but and the gantry is refers to the overhead structure of the
Mm-hmm.
actual crane, but this is a different animal
Right,
here.
and you'll see. We're going to show some pictures. I mean,
Oh, good. Okay.
these are these like giant steel boxes, right? With like just four legs and maybe a roof, not even a roof, but like a
Mhm.
frame up top with wheels on the bottom. And so they can go over top of a container and pick it up and then drive it around. So they have these rubber tire gantry cranes for moving containers internally at Seagirt, right? So
Yep.
there's plenty of stuff that goes on by truck, and there's plenty of stuff that happens by train. But I think internally, and there's forklifts, these giant forklifts that they use, but they also use these rubber tire gantry cranes, and a new shipment of them came in this week. And let's take a look at some photos. So this isn't them specifically because obviously the key bridge is in the photo, and
Right.
so this didn't happen today. But these are from another example, and people who really know the harbor will look at this and say, "But these cranes are leaving." Let's not get truth in the way of what I'm trying to.
You're trying to show a picture of what the things look like. Yeah.
And I actually thought when I found these, I found these on the Facebook group, and I thought, oh, these are cool, and I thought they were going the wrong way, and I didn't zoom in, and so here's the Alcoa terminal over here, right?
There's your BGE lines right
Right,
above you. Mm.
right. So yeah, so these were leaving, but this is what it looks like when they come in, and this is one of the Spleethoff ships These are also ice class ships, and
Oh,
you can
okay.
see by the crazy extension on the lower angle extension on the
Mm-hmm.
bow there, or this way.
Yep.
So there's a few more. Let me see. Yeah, a few more photos of what they look like when they come in on the ship. And then this is a different ship, but unloading them again, not today. But you can see how big these things are. Here's this guy standing here. And so, a big square frame, and it actually rolls on the wheels, and people drive these things like a car or a truck. Not really, but people actually drive or pilot these things. And shout out to Bill McAllen, port photographer, for taking these photos. And then here's what one looks like when it's just, sitting. This is interesting. I never realized this. Look at the wheel guards. Can you kind of see?
Oh, yeah.
So, like, as it's going, you can't get yourself in trouble. And then I guess I didn't even realize this. I guess you're piloting or driving the whole thing from up here where the crane is.
So this is where some of the automation related concerns are getting involved, because
Hmm.
some of the new cranes have the
Mm-hmm.
ability to be operated remotely.
Mm.
But some of them are, some of them have different fuels, and I think
Mm-hmm.
that some of the things that are coming online are going to be more electric based.
As a
So
matter of fact, we do have plans to buy rubber tire gantry cranes that run on a bus bar
right.
at Seagirt. Now, are they remotely? I don't know that. I just know that they plan on putting a bus bar in, and then somehow this would hook or ride on get its power from the bus bar.
Mm-hmm.
And then I guess they would be restricted to just running up and down the bus bar. They wouldn't be able to go anywhere
Right.
else.
Right. Now, yeah, and
Um,
they stay in a fixed line and just run back and forth. But
mm-hmm,
you've got you've got different capabilities that exist with each one of the different types of models.
mm-hmm,
Different fuels, different levels of autonomy. Some of them are completely manual driven, back and forth with a, you know, a an operator in it, and then some of them are operated out of a building adjacent to the whole yard.
mm-hmm. And then, so if I don't know if folks know this, but just thought I'd go back to this for a second. So these are the original, well, the older blue cranes. Um, these are the older blue cranes that we still have. The big white post Panamax cranes that we have now. We have 8 of them. They get all the love, but we do still use these older cranes here. So,
Yep.
and I don't want to bury the lead, because I think this is a fascinating part to this story, is that one of my port sources, and he knows who he is, said that these came to town because a terminal shut down in Portland. You have some information on that? You managed to dig that up?
Yeah, I happened to do a little bit of research on this.
Yeah,
The
I threw you a curveball at like 8 o'clock and said, "Hey, can you have this stuff ready by 9? No pressure." And you pulled it off. What do you got?
Oh, it's all good. It's all good. The well, I would like to, but I think that I deleted it when I
Don't.
deleted all of the.
Well, you did say that there was a terminal that closed up there, right? And it was a smaller container terminal.
Yeah. So in the port of Portland,
Mm-hmm.
the terminal number 6 was announced to be shut down several months ago, but it was supposed to be officially shut down in October 1st of this year. So
Mm-hmm.
this was a state-owned facility,
Mm-hmm.
state-operated facility. So to kind of give you a
Oh.
perspective, Maryland Port Administration is kind of in a similar type situation.
Mm-hmm.
So the state of Maryland owns the Seagirt and Dundalk.
Right.
For prior to Ports America Chesapeake signing an agreement with the state operated the terminals.
Oh, they did.
Yeah, and so that,
See?
but the problem is, the state needs to get in the business of running the state, not running terminal operations.
Hmm.
That's just
Yeah.
personal, But so they,
Well,
well, there's different ways to operate
oh, of course.
facilities.
And some things are more efficient than others, and I'm sure some states are more efficient than others of
So
doing things that are maybe a little bit outside the purview.
correct. Look, we've got an airport that we have to deal with. So what Maryland has done is they have leased out the property to a third party, operator, Ports
Right.
America Chesapeake, to come in there and do the work on behalf of the state. And so, when you have a state agency operating something versus a third party, industry company,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
they're going to operate things differently. So in the port of Portland, they've got this Terminal 6 that was state run, owned, and operated.
Mm-hmm.
It was originally built for a capacity of up to 7,000 TEU ships.
Right.
Okay, and so now we're operating. We're here in Baltimore. We're at about the 12,000 ish,
15, bro. Sorry.
15,000 ish. Okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
the biggest ships are running 21,000 TEUs.
Yeah. 21, 24. The really big ones, the biggest, newest ones are 24. It's crazy.
They don't have enough business to keep this thing going because of their capacity issues. Now, you might
Right.
say, well, why don't they just upgrade? Oh, okay, that's easy to say, but if you're, a state agency versus a, a non-government agency operating a terminal, you're going to make some different decisions there also. And this will
Right.
mean that the state of Oregon is going to, the taxpayers are going to have to foot the bill to make these improvements in this terminal because of the state-owned property. I think
Right. And
there was a decision that was made to say, you know what, we're just going to close this down because the cost to, the cost to improve and the sources of revenue just doesn't make sense. But
right.
now,
And
you got all these assets that are state owned that need to be disseminated in some capacity, either sold off or scrapped or whatever.
mm-hmm. And then what I was thinking is, and where, and I'm a map person, right? So I hear about something. Oh, where is that? Oh, where is that exactly? So, I mean, maybe later I might try to find it out. And half of me wants to just, pull it up and try to find it on a map. But it would take, we could look at the port of Portland. But to find Terminal 6, I think would be a little bit difficult to find out which one is actually Terminal 6.
Sure.
And then look at the NOAA charts. How far in there? How many turns is it? Right? So if you wanted to upgrade that terminal, okay, how many miles or thousands of feet are you going to have to make a channel hundreds of feet wider and 20 feet deeper? And is it practical? Can you really get bigger ships? I don't know. Maybe the terminal is sitting just off the ocean, or maybe it's through a zigzag of channels and it's all the way in the back in the corner. And what would it take to upgrade that? So
Right.
maybe they're going to repurpose it for something else and just move. And it's just me guessing, but
No, I think that makes complete sense. It's not just the terminal
mm-hmm.
that has to go through the upgrades. It's the channel. It's everything else that's involved within that that movement.
Mm-hmm. And then to stay on the port, man, we're really driving down the details today, aren't we?
Yep.
And it's funny because I shouldn't admit this, but we throw together a bunch of ideas during the week, and then it seems like Kipp and I are both deadline people. And so nothing happens till it has to happen. And then, so the night before, maybe.
Yep.
Kipp, you're turning red. You're a little embarrassed. You're like,
I
I'm a better planner than that.
Yeah.
Don't tell these people.
The research department just looked over and gave me a dirty look. No, I had a former boss who told me that I had poor time management, and I was like, no,
Don't.
it's just that I was a procrastinator. I was like, no, it's not procrastination. It's just I manage my time differently than you do.
Well, okay. I'm doing true confessions. Nothing happens unless I have to do it, and so that's when I kind of put the plan together. Is an hour or two before we come on and do this taping, and so uh, double stacks. So double stack container trains. So there are containers that come and go from the Port of Baltimore on trains, but they've only been one box high because there have been a bunch of limitations. If you're going west, you might think it's south because you see the train coming south out of the tunnel right next to the Ravens Stadium,
Right.
but it's really considered west. Is that tunnel that's been under the city for 100 years, and getting that to the point where they can have two containers high running under the city, and there's a bunch of stuff that actually runs through that tunnel besides train tracks, all kinds of electrical and signal cables and stuff for buildings downtown, and right there's a bunch of stuff that runs through there, and so to get that ready has been a Herculean task. But they've also been working on getting the railroad clear for double stacks going north of here, like to Philly.
Correct.
And to do that, there were a lot of little bridges that needed to either be raised or they actually come in and lower the track down and regrade it. And then I found this little segment. So, all right, before I do that, and so we talked about on the group, on the Facebook group, you and I talked about,
Mm-hmm.
hey, yay, double stacks are here. And there was a reason why they did that, right? So the harbor, the Howard Street tunnel was not done yet, but they said, hey, if we clear the double stacks north,
Mm-hmm.
then we can run the trains north. Now it's quite a circuitous route, but plenty of stuff goes that route if you're familiar with railroads and how they get to Baltimore. Um, so we can run them north, and we can start running them, and we'll run them north, and it'll be a little bit out of the way, but we can get them started. And then that way we don't have to run the trains through the tunnel, and then that way we can get the tunnel done faster.
Correct.
And then on the group, on the Facebook group, there were a bunch of folks who were like, I don't understand this. How can CSX agree to this? Is this really efficient? Who's buying this? Are any of these containers international? Uh, can't y'all just be happy we're making port progress? I mean, hello, is this thing on? Come on, stop it. People are curious, and they they ask good questions. But then I found this video from the port, and I thought it might help to answer
Okay.
some of those questions. So let's see. Do a little driving here, and can you hear it? You can't hear it, right?
There we go. What an exciting day for the Port of Baltimore. Here we stand looking out on the first train that will go out, taking double stack containers into the market. We're not there yet. The full project is not done, but this is our proof of concept.
It will increase our efficiency with inside the ICTF, and also it'll allow us to touch areas into a wider market, into the Ohio Valley. It'll allow us to be competitive with our other major East Coast ports.
We're doubling our efficiency for intermodal service into and out of the Port of Baltimore. It's 47 years in the making. It's happening 7 months and 2 days since the collapse of the Kipp Bridge. So it's really exciting for the company that we can be a part of this growth opportunity here in Baltimore, the place that created the railroad 200 years ago.
We'll be able to reduce highway traffic, and we'll be the East Coast gateway that all steamship lines want to choose.
Again, one absolutely fantastic day for the commercial and operational capacity of the port, and we look forward to seeing what double stack capability brings long term to the Port of Baltimore.
So you have some? Did you have some background about that? Did you want to go into, or did I basically cover it?
So October the 28th, that was Monday, was the official day that we had our first inbound and outbound double stack train. So that train coming in was, had double stack from other places. They're going, Seagirt Terminal is going to add more containers to it, and it's going to continue on its journey. So the Chicago to Baltimore train, number 5303, it's one of the CSXs, had the honor of being the first stack train to arrive at the port. The port officials are saying that this will grow volumes by about 160,000 containers annually. Okay, and so that's not only is that growth to the container movements here at Seagirt Terminal, but you also need to incorporate what's going to happen with Sparrows Point Terminal once it goes online, and they're going to be doing double stacking also.
And that just fascinates me, right? Because we're going back to that creaky old bridge over Bear Creek, and I mean, are double stacks really going to fit through there? And what anyway, go ahead.
You got 13,000 jobs that'll be created out of this. It's not only construction but operations. I know I saw a comment on there goes, okay, well, double stack is here. Where are the 13,000 jobs? Please stop. That's not what
Did you see there was a comment on like Instagram?
Yeah.
And then I replied with a paragraph.
Look,
while I was trying to watch TV last night with my wife. Hey, it just started. The jobs aren't going to show up tomorrow. They did this on purpose so they could get the tunnel done faster.
I also wonder if this was also sped up because of the Key Bridge.
Well, they did reference that.
So if you put more containers on rail, that's the same amount of containers that are taken off of the road. Now, I get the concerns about trucking labor and trucking jobs and those types of things. However, if you've been in a car in Baltimore in the past 6 months, at any given time of the day or night, you know that we've got some major traffic congestion related issues.
Right.
This also helps with that. It doesn't fix it.
Right.
But if you can get more containers off of the highway, that's less congestion, at least locally.
Right. And to people who are concerned about the environment, which is probably most of us, you're talking about how many containers are you moving while you're just using 2 railroad engines, and you're moving hundreds of containers at once versus
Correct.
1 container, 1 truck. Now, I'm not anti-truck at all. I'm just
not
saying,
anti-truck either, but
because there's some real, there's some real things, right? I mean, you could never move all the tankers that are on a train via truck. You could never move all the coal on trains via truck. I mean, you would have to build 4 times as many highways or make them 4 times as wider.
Just
and 4 times as stronger, by the way.
Yes. Look just at the coal unit train model. You got 100 to 150 cars coming out of out of West Virginia every day for both outfits, basically. I mean, you don't have to put it on a train. You can put 150 or maybe double the amount, because the car, the rail
what would
cars,
that amount be? We should know that.
You're taking at
each
least
coal
another
car
150 cars or trucks off of the road by putting it on a rail line every day.
Each coal car is like 250,000 pounds, right? So, but trucks are limited to 40,000. So
it's
now
even
you're
more
talking,
trucks.
there's 6 trucks there at least. One train car is 6 trucks. That's a lot of trucks. For some reason, if you're a railroad geek like me, for some reason the trains always come through with about 80 or 130 coal cars, and I've counted them way too many times. I don't know why they use those numbers, but they do.
So this this is a temporary detour that allows for double stack until the point that the Howard Street Tunnel gets its 18 inches dug out, and everything goes live, and then that temporary agreement with Norfolk Southern and CSX will be terminated, and then everybody would go back to business as usual, but with double stack at that point.
Yeah, sounds good.
That was one of the big news pressers this week. When it was really quick, we ran up to the terminal, to the Newgate Street Bridge, and took a quick picture and posted
Street,
that.
yeah.
Say, nope, it really is here. It really is happening.
Yeah, so that was cool. You were able to get some photos.
If I didn't have a truck, sitting behind me, I would have tried to get out and try to get one without.
Right, because it is right there at Vale Street Gate. I mean, there is, I know they're not using that gate right now, but just getting around that corner, because the whole gypsum factory is right there, and the lanes are just big enough for a truck. I mean, there's really nowhere to pull off the side without risking your life. I mean, it's an industrial area that, you can drive your car through there, and I have many times, but
You're not
I don't know
stuck.
if you want to be getting out of your car and trying to walk across the street and take pictures next to a fence.
Right. The other big thing that happened this week on the 29th, on Tuesday, Joe Biden flew into the terminal on Marine One. They had a big press announcement for the port. The port was awarded $147 million in federal funding to create good-paying, clean jobs to expedite decarbonization, electrification efforts at the port. So this was an award from the EPA, Environmental Protection Agency, under its Clean Ports program, and the funding will give the MPA, Maryland Port Administration, and its private partners, so that's Ports America Chesapeake, the ability to purchase 213 pieces of new zero-emission vehicles, equipment, charging infrastructure, to replace the old, inefficient combustion systems that they had in place. So it also includes upgrades to the port's electrical grid, to be able to help support all of that. So this is necessary funding to allow for the rubber tire gantry cranes to operate, the connection to the double stack rail. This is all stuff that was all in the works and in the plan. So,
and that's separate from the other money that was announced that was for Dundalk Marine Terminal.
Correct.
And working
podcast
on Berth 11.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow.
So they had a cool press release out there, and then about knockoff time at work, all of the roads in Dundalk were shut down so that Biden can go get his ice cream and had his photo op, and then as I was leaving work and about to go through the tunnel, you could see Marine One flying back south. I was like, okay, we're good. So. Let's keep
Kipp's a little
forward.
salty because he got delayed on his way home.
It's bad enough I got to drag myself through the tunnel every day, but to do it even slower, it's like, all right.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of big news at the terminals this week.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Do we want to ask? Is the dolly still out there?
Yeah,
Is it still chugging along?
let's take a look here. Let me see. Let's take a look. Where the heck is it? Okay, so here we are. This is marinetraffic.com. And so anybody can look at where ships come and go. And if you're not familiar, this is our port. So let's just start here. So let's see. This is Dundalk Marine Terminal here. This is where a lot of the ro-ro goes. So I think here it's mostly ro-ro, so not automobiles. A lot of the construction, I mean, they do automobiles here, but there's a lot of other stuff, cranes, farm equipment, all kinds of stuff. What's that pallet thing called? The Moffy?
Oh yeah, so yeah, they have specialized cargo. So if it's too big to be lifted by a crane, they'll lift onto a ship. They can
transformers, rail cars,
all of that stuff. They'll load it
like
on a
the T in Boston or wherever.
Yeah.
And that just occurred to me. You know, the T, the subway in Boston is called the T.
Oh,
right. Yeah. And then the trains just have a big T on them. And then the Boston Tea Party, like, okay, I need more coffee. I just put that together.
So they'll put trains on a Moffy. So a Moffy is just a very large flatbed with wheels on it that allows anything to be turned into ro-ro cargo.
Right. So all that big, what I was trying to say is all that big oversized stuff that's not a car typically goes here comes through here through Dundalk. Right. And so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 ships in right now, just today. And then over here is Seagirt. This is where all the containers go, and you can see them all lined up here. And so we've got the Titan, which used to be one of the biggest ships to come to, used to be the biggest ship to come to Baltimore, and then a couple other container ships. But so while we're here, back to what we're supposed to be looking for, let's go look at the dolly and see where she is. Look at this. Way over here on the other side of the world, like going through Indonesia,
Interesting.
the South China Sea. Yeah, because I think you have to zigzag through there. Okay. So let's move this out of the way. And then we can kind of zoom out and see. So remember I was telling you we got people on the camera chat who are like, oh, and Dolly's here and she's there and she's kind of staying out of the fray of the main shipping line. Well, you can see where now we haven't zoomed out enough to know, like, can she go this way to get to the, excuse me, the yard in China where she's going? So you can still see the dot here.
Mm-hmm.
So I think somebody said that loves to pay attention to this stuff more than I do. So, all right. So let's just keep going. Let's see how far this thing has gone. I mean, we all know the Earth and where we are. So we're all the way over here, United States, and she came all the way down here around Africa, and then I think took this southerly route and came up through here instead of this main route here where everybody else seems to go. So let me see if I can pass track.
I wonder with the lack of weight that the ship has, if it allows it to go through some non-traditional channels that aren't as deep.
Oh, well, that certainly makes sense. Let's get back to where we were. So they have this really neat function, where you can click on past track and it'll show you like a little spaghetti line of where the ship has been. But it didn't like that today for some
Okay.
reason. But so Dali is going up here in China. I don't recall the name of the port, but somewhere up here in China. So she's still got, this says the 8th. 6 days left.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, people love to pay attention and follow this stuff, you know? So basically people tell me what's going on and then I'm like, oh. And we kind of thought we would, follow the Dolly along as it went on its trip across the world to get itself fixed. But sometimes we just didn't have the time in the podcast that week.
Yeah.
So anyway,
We'll keep checking on it.
yeah. What else we got?
I got a couple of history things.
Okay.
Just some, as I'm starting to go and comb a little bit further into Port of Baltimore history. And I keep bringing this segment up. I've had a couple of people who have reached out and said, "Hey, here's another history nugget that you might be interested in." Yeah. So,
that's cool.
So if you want to, I don't know, send it to Mike, Mike at Baltimore Shipwatching.
Yeah, I was like, nobody's contacting me about history.
Okay. But yeah, no. So if you've got some cool history nuggets that you want to share, let me know and send it our way. But
Mike at BaltimoreShipwatchers.com.
That's right.
Okay.
Howard Street. So back to the Howard Street Tunnel with our history. It was November of 2021 that the tunnel project actually started. So it's been 3 years of to get us to this point. So I thought that was an appropriate history nugget. Also in November of 2021, Carnival Legend started calling on the port. So up until that, years before, Carnival did have a presence here. It was the Pride, and the Pride ended, and then the Carnival Legend started calling on the port.
And now it's switched back again.
Yep.
Yeah. So it is interesting how they move things around, and I think what they do is they know people love a certain port, right? And so it's basically the same class of ship, but they are a little different. And so maybe people, and I've heard, because I follow Carnival cruise groups on Facebook, and people that talk about coming and going from Baltimore. And so, all right, well, you get a different ship, and so now people might be like, okay, well, I've done 5 cruises on the Pride. Let me do one on the Legend. It might be a little different, some variety.
Sure.
Just a guess.
It could also be like servicing. They got to take the ship out for servicing, so they put something else into the rotation.
Right, like the Legend was in Baltimore, was in Tampa, and then they switched them, Pride to Legend, and then when the Legend, I think, is the Legend back in Tampa, or did it go to Europe? So it's interesting to kind of figure out where everything goes and how they rotate them around.
The other history nugget, and this is something that I want to get into a little bit as the Baltimore Peninsula area continues to go through its rebirth. The Port Covington.
Yeah, I was like, it's my turn to be snarky. Just don't rename it to something stupid. Keep the history. All right, I'm done.
Yeah, in November of 1904, the Western Maryland Railroad announced that they were changing the name of their terminal, Tidewater Terminals, to Port Covington.
Oh,
so
nice.
So Port Covington was part of the Western Maryland Railroad discharge point, and so they'd come in and whatever the products were that they were moving.
Grain and coal a lot, I think.
Yeah. And so that, they had called that area Tidewater Terminals up until 1904. And then the name change to Port Covington took place November of 1904.
Nice.
So
I didn't know that.
That was a couple of history nuggets that I came
across.
Right.
And then the Port Covington is a nod to Fort Covington
Correct.
that used to be there. And so did you see they just put like a marker? Was it, I don't know the name, some Baltimore Historical Society, and then the Pride of Baltimore was there, and they put a marker like on a slab of granite, really nice by the water, to kind of commemorate Fort Covington.
Correct.
I think. Yeah, so that was.
Well, we'll have to do some research on that one too.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, that was what I had for history for this week. Upcoming events.
Mm-hmm.
In our last podcast, we had Nan from Sail Baltimore on, and so she promoted their upcoming Portside Party fundraiser, and that's November the 14th. If you're interested in participating in that, go to sailbaltimore.org and go under events. There's a little ticket page where you can purchase your tickets for that event. That sounds like it'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
This weekend, I believe, is the last weekend that the John W. Brown is doing their Ghost Ship fundraiser. So if you haven't had a chance to go out there, I've heard a lot of comments about how good it was, the decorations, really good time. Make your way out there. Go to ssjohnwbrown.org, and the tickets button for that is over on the left-hand side of the screen. You can go enjoy that. Remember,
right? And if there are haunted house people, right?
Yep.
There are haunted house people who love haunted houses. They go out of their way to do this. I mean, so if you want to go see something unique that you can't probably see anywhere else, and it's available here in Baltimore with some incredible maritime history that's tied to the port. It's not just on any ship. It's on a ship that was built here. One of the 2 out of 2,700 that still run on their original engine, and it just happens to be here at the port. So, go check it out.
Yep, absolutely. And then make sure you mark Tuesday, December the 3rd, 5 p.m. out at Trade Point Atlantic. The annual star lighting ceremony will take place. So,
and then a little nugget, a little self-promotion nugget. Let's pull up the yes, Wednesday, November 13th, 5 o'clock, WBAL. These two heads will be on a newscast.
We'll see how that ends up being.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see how that.
So during November sweeps, keep an eye out for WBAL's news report on us in this podcast. And
November 13th, 5 o'clock.
Yep.
All
right. That's all I got for today, I think.
Okay. Just as a reminder,
before you go into all that, you're selling. You got some calendars, don't you?
I do.
Do you want to talk about your calendars and your swag stuff?
Yes. Yes. So, and I the calendars are on their way. These aren't the calendars for this year, but I think this is our 4th or 5th year. No. 3rd or 4th year that we're doing like wall calendars and of incredible pictures from here in Port of Baltimore. Okay? So obviously this is an old one. But a lot of great pictures inside, if you're a person that still uses a calendar. But this year, what we thought would be a really cool idea is to honor the Key Bridge. And so we've created a calendar that is nothing but photos of the Key Bridge.
Oh, cool.
So you can have, and these are, about paper size, 8.5 by 11. There's a little bit of a gloss to it. It's not glossy. But I mean, this one certainly won't be, but I mean, we really have some great photographers.
Sure.
in our group that share their talents. And when we do these calendars, we just do them. It's just local photos by local people. We don't put photos in there that didn't, come from us, if you
Sure.
will. And there's, there's plenty of photos in the world. But we're going to highlight the people that take photos here.
That's really neat.
Yeah. And so we really thought it'd be neat to create a calendar for 2025 that's just Key Bridge pictures. And I know a lot of us were attached to that bridge and or still are. And so you'll have a collection of photos that you'll have. And this is one of the few fundraisers that we have. So it does take money to run the Ship Watchers. There's website, there's email, there's promotional things. We buy clothes with logos on them. There's a bunch of different expenses. So this is one of the few ways that we can actually take in a little bit of money. So the calendars are $35 shipped in the U.S. and there is a tab on the website. There's a merch tab on the website, so BaltimoreShipWatchers.com, and you can go there and order calendars, and then other stuff, right? So we're still selling our hats with our logo on it. We're still selling the coffee cups with both logos on it. We have t-shirts, so I'm going to try to, with the Keybridge logo on it, sweatshirts, zip-up hoodies. What else? I think that's it. But yeah, so we still have all that stuff available if you want to do some, if you want to start your Christmas shopping early for your favorite Ship Watchers fan. Everything is still available.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds good.
Yep. Hey, just real quickly. Yeah, we're at an hour. But did we ever talk about this?
Oh, the new Port of Baltimore magazine.
The Port of Baltimore magazine.
Yeah.
And then let's see if we can make this work. If y'all want to know where to get this, there you go. There's a scan code.
There's a scan code. You can also go to portofbaltimoredirectory.com, where all of the current and past editions of the Port of Baltimore magazine exist electronically.
In PDF, yeah. So
I think I'm on page 10 of it this episode.
This one?
Yeah, open it up. I think it's 10.
Dang, did I not know that? Or did I just blow that off? Community corner? Maybe not.
It should be down at the lower bottom. Maybe the page before or after.
Yeah, maybe the page before or after. Back to school event. Tour of port facilities.
Yeah, there's the one on the tour right there.
Oh, this one? Here.
Yeah. Was it page 8?
Yes.
Yeah, so that was our summer externship where we had local educators come and learn about the Port of Baltimore through tours and site visits and C-suite panels to discuss about what each port facility does. And the teachers' jobs were to learn about the academic and career pathways that exist so that they could go teach their students about what jobs exist in and around the port. And so it's a huge crash course, to run them through the gamut for a full week.
Right.
You're with me 8 to 5 all day long, and you're in and around port facilities and doing these tours to learn about these different careers that exist, so that we can help educate the next workforce of what opportunities are available, what you need to do to get trained to go do those jobs, and then you can make some good living wages in and around the port.
Right, and I can't tell you how many people, since we've had the Ship Watchers Facebook group, and I can't tell you how many people have said, "Wow, I didn't know about all this stuff. I didn't know about these." And then especially ladies, women are like, these kinds of things weren't available to, people that are, maybe seniors, and because they're from a different time, and they're like, these things weren't available to women back then.
Right.
We couldn't get these jobs. So between things being different now and people just not knowing about it, like I say, the port certainly isn't a cottage industry. What were $15 million a day when blocked off when the Key Bridge was down. But unless you know somebody, or unless you're going through the tunnel and you see the rows there, or you were going over the bridge when it was there, it's kind of out of sight, out of mind.
Right.
So it's kind of cool to get this. And then just more about the magazine, if I may. There's all kind of articles in here, and then sometimes there's just some great photos. Now, sometimes they're just, this is the actual pilots.
Right.
Talking, with placing an ad in here. But sometimes even the ads have great photos.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And lots of port information in here. So if you want to check that out.
Cool.
So Balto Ches is where we are on YouTube. Twix, shout out Amy Lawrence, and Instagram.
And if you want to hear the podcast on your audio versions, you can listen to us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
All right.
So I think we're
we got
done.
Through it all.
Background looks awesome, dude. That's cool.
It does all right. I had to look at some of the lighting here in the room, but it's a neat little backdrop.
Yeah, I like it.
I'll get yours bundled up and dropped off to you soon.
Oh, okay, that's cool. That'd be cool. All right, you want to get us out of here?
Yep, sounds good. All right. Hope everybody has a good week. We'll see what else is happening this week. You ready to count it off? All right, 3, 2, 1.
Happy Shipwatching. That sounded pretty good.
We'll see what
see how horrible it is on the back end. All right, everybody.